don't know how many of you have read or the transcript of or heard the farewell address by President Eisenhower in the late 1950s. He made some very interesting observations. He warned America to be very careful about the congressional military-industrial complex. His view was that such was the great spending, or potentially great spending on armaments in the United States, that the budgets would actually sway Congress, and these huge budgets would actually impact on the democratic process in the United States, and $1 trillion every year. There is an argument that's already happening. He also told us something else. He said, beware fake science. Beware science which has been manipulated, if you will. And of course, we first heard that from Winston Churchill when he referred to perverted science. And of course, we see this in matters of climate change, where free debate on the science of climate change has been stifled. We're also seeing this now over this COVID-19 business. Serious debate is being stifled. Mainstream media never ask any serious questions. And I'm worrying whether or not there's something going on that we don't know about. As I said in my previous video, only 1,700 healthy people have died out of 65 million in this country from it. So it's a nonsense. We were told we all had to close down to protect the NHS, so on and so forth, back on the 23rd of March, and we all did that, we all complied. But we still now in September have the NHS only working at 50%. Been an absolute disaster. We seem to go out and clap them, but of course it's been the biggest cock up in the history of the NHS, and they still haven't recovered from it, so something's going wrong there. And now, just today, Matthew Hancock is increasing police powers. He's going back to the lockdown. They want to get us back to work, but they don't really want to get us back to work, otherwise they wouldn't be behaving this manner. We've had some complete nonsense, so you can't have more than 6 people to dinner. You can go to the pub where there's lots and lots of people. If you stick to a table with the 6 people that you went into and no more, you've got face masks now, where everybody's been telling us that face masks are a waste of time. They've been telling us medically now for months and months. The Dutch government is sticking to that. The World Health Organization has suggested they made that decision on face masks on political basis, not medical science. They've already admitted that. You can check the small print, look it up. It's all in the public domain. So what we have here is something which certainly looks and smells like a conspiracy, and very often perhaps it's just a cock-up. I mean, I don't know. It could be that it's just that this government is one of the most incompetent governments we've had since Theresa May's government, which of course is pretty incompetent as well. But it doesn't make sense to drive a coach and horses through our health systems, the national health, closing it down, our law, our principles of English law, our constitution, our freedoms, and of course increasing police powers is something that we've got to be very deeply suspicious of. We've seen their behaviour in the last 3 months. I would not be giving police any more powers than they've already got. Thank you very much. They don't seem to quite know what to do with the powers that they've got, and they seem to be using most of their resources to attack Middle England. And I'm doing another video on that particular subject in its own right. So who wins? Well, for those of you who remember their prep school Latin, cui bono. Who gets something out of this? Well, there's 2 things. There's 2 possible things here. There's no reason for any of this lockdown. There's no reason for this draconian response to the COVID-19. But maybe it's to put in place a control system, a government control system, which is already in place when we have the next banking collapse. And boy, we're having another banking collapse sooner than you might think. I should do another video on that one quite soon too, telling you why and how. They know that's coming down the road. So maybe they're making sure that the population is totally submissive before they actually bully us and intimidate us when it comes to banking. So when they actually come, the next thing is you can't have any money out of your bank account because you've got to protect banking. That's the next thing, and they did this with the national health. I mean, I don't know where they're going with this, but it's a possibility. Putting the levers of power in to oppress us. There's another one that you might like to consider as well. We keep on hearing about a vaccination. We're waiting for a vaccination, a vaccine. Oh my goodness me, that's going to be wonderful, isn't it? And they're trying to rush one out. And Boris, our Prime Minister, said anybody who's anti-vac is mad. Well, I'm not anti-vac, but I'm anti-some vax. I'm anti-vax that aren't tested. I'm anti-vax, I don't believe, for a problem from which 99.9% of people recover. I don't believe a vaccine is actually necessary at all. So all this vaccine business I don't like. But let's go back to Eisenhower's speech. Let's go back to that speech. Look at the power the pharmaceutical companies have. Trillions and trillions of dollars a year are turned over by the pharmaceutical companies. It's big business. Every politician, every drug administration agency is in the pocket, including the World Health Organization, of the big pharmaceutical companies. They're in their pocket. And of course, trillions of dollars buys a lot of people. And of course, an awful lot of people are quite easily bought. And this is the problem. So who wins? Who wins? Cui bono? Again, the pharmaceutical companies and those people who are on the take from pharmaceutical companies. Is this jab going to be made compulsory? They're talking. The Australian Prime Minister has already talked about making it compulsory. Boris, with his saying all anti-vaxxers are going to make it compulsory, is going perhaps the same route. And no, they're not going to hold us down and jab us physically in that manner. They're more likely to do what the devious Tony Blair has suggested and make it part of our passport. So without a chip in our passport, we can't travel. And it won't be long before there's an ID. And if you don't have that chip, you can't get a job, or you can't go to theatre, you can't go to the cinema, so on and so forth. And we'll soon have to have this job, not because they hold us down, it's because we can't run our lives without it, without the tick in the box. A bit like the Chinese have now, a sort of a social system of box ticking. How many do you get out of 10? 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, you're a good citizen with 10 out of 10, which means you do exactly as you're told. Or you're a very naughty boy and you only get 2 out of 10 because you don't kowtow, I use that word advisedly, to the government. So something somewhere ain't right. So am I swivel-eyed? Is it vaccines? I don't know. Is it banking collapse and they're going to control us and every aspect of our lives? Or, and you might think, those of you watching this clip, it's just a grossly, hopelessly incompetent government, even by Theresa May's standards. Who knows?